Well, good evening all, and welcome to the last edition of True North Vaping. Next week, it's a different venue and a different push. But don't worry, Kathy and myself will be here, but we're going to have friends. And we have a friend here with us tonight. I would like to introduce Zombill, joining us from our great southern neighbor.
Welcome, Zombill.
Hey, how's it going? How's everybody doing tonight?
We're very proud to have you on tonight, joining us on our last show.
Well, it's my pleasure to be here on True North Vaping. I'm sorry.
No worries.
How's everybody in chat doing tonight?
They'll straggle
Looks like they're all doing
slowly.
great. Yeah. It'll get busier. Oh shit,
sure.
they're on. Yeah, we're on, Kingpin.
Oh shit, they're on.
I'm
Change
sure
channel.
they'll be coming in. There's an event. There's an event going on elsewhere right now that's kind of big. I didn't know was happening tonight until earlier today.
Ooh.
Is that the auction for autism on Quest?
Yeah, sure is.
Yeah, I only found out about that about 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Seems like it's going pretty good too.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, really good cause too.
Well, it was about 4 o'clock this afternoon. I got a Skype telling me it was going on. I'm like, well, it is what it is.
True that. I was there for half their show.
Well,
A lot of good people over there on Quest. That's my main hangout.
and see, that's where I started. I started at TVN, which became Quest. And I started broadcasting there in March or April last year.
I didn't come into the whole vaping scene, the whole vaping community until was it right around March. I started vaping back in October. I started reviewing at the end of December. So really, I jumped into it fast.
Oh yeah.
Well, I know I found out about vaping totally by accident. I wasn't looking for a way out. I was quite happy seeing myself as a smoker for the rest of my life. I had failed at quitting several times, and I just kind of quit quitting. And I saw an ad for V2 cigarettes. It was stormy outside that night. I didn't want to go outside for a cigarette,
Right.
and the Smoke Anywhere logo got me.
Huh. And for me, it was one evening I was having to fix my sister's computer, and she didn't have any kind of an ad blocker, and I saw this ad said electronic cigarettes. I'm like, what is that? I've never heard of these electronic cigarettes before, because I always run the ad blocker, so I never had seen anything about it. So I followed the ads and looked at everything, and I'm like, hey, this looks interesting. So I started researching a little bit more and did a little bit more stuff, and then I came across Vapor S. Thompson and Nick Fit Nation.
Yeah.
And I bought my first kit from him, and then the rest is history. I never smoked again, ever.
No, you're lucky to find a guy like Primo first time around.
You bet.
You know, great guy, great vendor. I got taken for a ride by V2 cigarettes the first time around. Then I found some Canadian vendors, and down the path, I think I found every vendor.
First kit that I had was one of those trial scam kits. E-cig brands
Oh yeah.
was one of the RN 4081 cigalikes.
Yep. Well, I started with an 808
Luckily
kit.
enough, I was able to get out of that.
I started with an 808 kit, 1 manual, 1 automatic battery, and pre-filled cardos. Very quickly got a 510 slim kit, and then a 510T kit, and then 1000 mAh Ego pass-through with the dual coil 5 milliliter XXXL Smoke Tech cardos. And
Right.
it was done deal. That was the last day I smoked, was the day that came. And
I was smoking and vaping at the same time, up until the point I got my first mod, which was the Vamo. Well, once I got that Vamo, though, that was it. I was through smoking. It was vaping from then on out.
Huh.
And I remember, I remember so clearly when I was looking at the kits and seeing an Ego and seeing the side-by-side on videos of an Ego beside a 510 Slim. And, like, why the hell would anyone want anything that big? Like, that's ridiculous looking. It's huge. I don't care how many of these little ones I have to buy, but that's all I want. And fruit-flavored juice and vanilla-flavored juice and coffee. Just give me my cigarette. Just give me my cigarette flavor. Give me my cigarette look. Cigarette ease, and let's carry on. Now, I probably have one of the most extensive mod collections out there. I'm known for the monster mods. And yeah, tobacco, that's a flavor of the past. Now we're all about Vader pudding and sugar cookie and Okanagan medley and
Yeah, for me too. I can't remember the last time I vaped anything that was a tobacco flavor. I don't even like them anymore. I can't even stand the smell of it. Ugh.
I still run Carmelo Tobacco from Jugheads. I love it. And there's a reoccurring theme here. The caramel tobacco from Ian at Maple Leaf Vapes is another favorite. Both Ian and my own RY4 I love. Sabby, like CEV's Black Honey Tobacco is amazing, but these aren't cigarette flavors. They're like that feel-good tobacco in a pipe type flavors. Definitely not burning paper.
Right. There's a few tobacco flavors that I've had that are good, but mainly I stick to the sweets and the fruits. Like the bakery goods, the desserts. Those are the ones that I tend to stick with.
Right.
Well, after we're done here,
now,
Bill, you're gonna have to
my
send me your
favorites,
address. But after we're done here with the show, you're gonna have to send me your address on Skype because
yeah, definitely.
There's no way you can be here with us and not get a DSV care package. So you're gonna need yourself a bottle of Vader pudding, and you're gonna need sugar cookie, and there's a few other goodies, blueberry blizzard, and strawberry sundae, caramel sundae. I've kind of went from being the tobacco craze to sweets and bakery and ice creams are exactly where I shine.
Okay, great. Yeah, I've been wanting to try your stuff for a while. I've heard good things, really good things.
I like Vapors Break, Shelly,
Yeah, hey,
Moon,
Break, Shelly.
Ozzy. Wow, everybody's showing up in here.
Oh, yeah.
It's an amazing road that each and every person in this community travels. You know, we all come from
Yeah.
very different walks of life, very different backgrounds, and we all end up in this community with one thing in common. We're enjoying our nicotine without unknown chemicals.
Yep.
You know, it's just the way that it goes. Like, you know, nicotine for a new generation. Uh,
I completely agree. You know, and the whole thing about the different networks that I've been on and the different networks that I'm going to be on, I've been saying this thing about bridge the gap, okay? And it's because I believe that none of the channels should have any drama between each other. And it's because I believe that everybody should have the right to go wherever they please to go, you know, and that includes the hosts and the viewers, vendors, so on and so forth, you know.
well, that's
I
exactly
mean, why
it.
not?
There should be no
Why not
limits.
just? Why not sharing everything? Exactly. You know, because at one point in time, from my understanding, it was a whole. You know, and things started to break down. You know, can't have that. So that's the reason why I started saying bridge the gap.
Right.
And it works.
You know, each group does have a little bit different vision of what they want to achieve. Here, you know, I took a page from many different people's books. I wanted to build a community. That was my dream when VapeStrong was started, was to build a community. Not a Canadian community or an American community, but a vaping community where everyone's safe, everyone's welcome, and you just kind of surround everybody in this thick cloud of vapor and smile.
Yep. I agree.
Right. And I mean, it's pretty much the principle behind the whole thing, you know, and that's the way it should be everywhere. You know, it shouldn't be about, okay, let's have this over here and have that over there. No, no, no. It should be, you know, the same thing with with every with everyone.
And I think today we are closer to that
No, I agree.
than
I agree.
we've ever been before.
With opening, right. I have to agree with that. With opening the new channel that that myself and Dave have worked on, and simulcasting and sharing hosts, all with Corey's blessing before I ever went and did it. It's, you know, it's important to if anything ever blows up with the FDA or with Health Canada, if we need to band together to fight back, how are we going to do that if we're already at everyone's throats?
And see, that's
It
my
just can't be
point.
done.
And that's my point behind bridge the gap. Okay, we all need to be a strong, united community. Okay, no separation. All the networks need to be tied together as one to take on any kind of front that the FDA would oppose to us, Okay? Thank you for pointing that out, Kathy.
Yep, no problem.
And that's exactly where Bridge the Gap comes into play.
Yep.
And I don't think a lot of people realize that on certain levels we are fighting for our future. You know,
Yes.
We are.
There are important things that need to happen with regulations. You know, there needs to be some safety regulations in place. There needs to be stuff like that in place for customer, vapor safety. But at the same time, I myself am scared that when they do regulation, it'll be more annihilation that they're interested in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people are worried about that.
And
I
will
hear
apologize.
it every day.
I will apologize. I have the music turned off because it plays through my ears way too loud, and I want to hear everything that Zombill has to say tonight.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Gord.
I interrupted. Now you lost your train of thought.
Yeah,
I'm really good at that.
My train of thought here.
I'm
Put
really
him
good
on
at
the spot.
But I think,
put him on the spot.
Is to make personal relationships. To make friendships that not just span our own country or our own continent, but that go worldwide. And that we have a voice. Even though we are the little guys in this fight, we have a voice. And we need to use that voice properly. We don't use our voice by blowing clouds in Walmart or in a Starbucks.
Right.
That just points a finger at us. We have a voice to do the responsible thing, to educate. And if you see misinformation, try to correct it. To be a productive part of society. Don't be a shit disturber with your vape. But show people there's a better way. Be seen as always being better.
Yeah, exactly. And, to go back to something you were saying just a minute ago, okay, before I lost my train of thought, I see it every day in each one of the different networks where people are talking about how they're worried about the FDA. Yes, just a second. Hello. Sorry, just take just a second. It's all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Happens here at the nursing home.
Yeah.
Anyways, every day in the different channels, different networks, I see this every day where people are afraid that the FDA and the powers to be in the different countries, like Europe, even in Russia, okay, where the governments are going to start, like you said, where it's going to come down towards annihilation of our e-cigarette devices, e-liquids, nicotine products, stuff like that. And so, in a nutshell, okay, I would think that, if we did band together, okay, and became stronger as a whole, all right, that maybe the governments would see, okay, that we're determined in our efforts to have a healthier life with our products and our e-liquids devices and such, that everything that we've already set out to prove. I mean, do you see where I'm going with this?
Yep. And,
okay.
Some of it comes down to, like, there have been studies that have been done, and
yes.
anyone that's actually creditable is on our side. that there are far less chemicals, less carcinogens. We're never going to say that vaping is as safe as not smoking or vaping, period.
Right.
I think anytime we put something into our body that's not absolutely necessary to maintain life, it isn't the 100% healthiest choice. But I can say emphatically that me vaping compared to me smoking 2 to 3 packs a day, I'm a different person. My energy level's different, my breath is different, my strength is different. Everything's improved. Like, I had a heavy smoker's cough that I blamed on being in a welding shop my entire adult life. And in 3 weeks of vaping, my smoker's cough went away and never came back.
Wow.
I went from having breathing issues if I went jogging or bike riding or playing hockey to my lungs are in better shape than they were when I was 18 and playing college hockey.
Yeah. For me, my smoker's cough went away a little faster than that, but so mine was 100% smoking that was causing me to not be able to breathe properly, but the difference it's making to everyone is so worth it that it's going to become almost a moral issue if they try to ban this now.
Well, see, I'm not worried about a ban.
Yeah.
I think we've passed the level of seeing a ban.
Okay.
And I'm scared of a set of regulations that are so stiff and so heavy that no one can afford to play in this game other than big tobacco or big pharma.
Yeah, it's going to come down to where they're going to start pushing it like they did the cigarette taxation in the United States, where each one of the states started implementing increased sales tax. Okay, and it got to the point to where things were so expensive with cigarettes that people started to have to pay more and more and more and more as time went on. Okay, and that's the way it's probably going to turn out. I hope that it doesn't turn out that way, but that's the way it's starting to look.
And see,
Right.
like I'm okay with a tax on it. I if all we did is get hit with a tax, I'm okay with that, as long as it's not absolutely brutal. But my fear comes more into having to get certifications on every single flavor, on every single product, and those regulations being government controlled and being $750,000 or $1 million per report. And you're going to need one for every nic level of every flavor of every juice. And the only people that can afford to play that game is going to be big pharma and big tobacco. And then we're back into the same game again, that we don't know what we're getting fed. We don't know what's in it. We do know some of the things that big tobacco has done already, in using ammonia and chemicals like that to freebase the nicotine in tobacco to make cigarettes more addictive. So now that they've got a liquid form to play with, and what chemicals can they put in there? Like,
now, correct me if I'm thinking wrong on this, but if they take and they make it to where you have to have a license, okay, if they regulate nicotine in any way, okay, like they classify it as where you have to have a license to sell nicotine, okay, wouldn't they have to do the same thing as far as regulating it in, say, food products too?
Well, that's common sense, but I don't think common sense is very common. That they're going to hit a serious roadblock if they try regulating ketchup or tomato soup or eggplant You know, these are
But see,
all
that's
fairly high nicotine products.
right, and that's where I don't see how. I honestly do not see how they're going to have a system in place. It really boggles the mind.
Yeah, and I think what I'm afraid of is they're going to tax this at the same rate as tobacco. And if they do that, then where is the incentive for people to go to a safer product to save money other than health?
And I want to touch on something that's in chat right now. In the U.S., as far as I know, and any American in here that knows more than me, please correct me. But as far as I know, e-cigs have been declared a tobacco product by the Supreme Court and under FDA jurisdiction as a tobacco product. Does that sound correct, Bill?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. In Canada, they are not classed as a tobacco product or as a pharmaceutical product. They are currently classed as a recreational consumer product. We do not fit the rules for either tobacco or pharmaceuticals. So we're kind of in no man's land. Like, at least in the States, you know a direction that it could go. Here we are in totally uncharted. So I don't have as much fear about Canada doing their normal thing and following the lead of the FDA, because we're not in that same category yet. You know, 2014, who the hell knows what's going to happen, but we're not there yet.
Mm.
And we do have some legislation on the books that was made specifically for Big Pharma about nicotine products that give them some far-reaching strengths that we can play on as vapors, that allow for the over-the-counter sales and all of that a lot of places don't have.
Mm-hmm.
And see, that's not true either. You can send Nick Juice to Canada, no problem at all. There's no law in place that says you can't. And what there is there is an advisory from 2009 coming from Health Canada that customs seem to take beyond law. There is no law saying you can't have it. There's just bureaucrats fucking you up the ass.
Right.
Yeah.
You think there is what, Marm?
Yeah, all there is an advisory.
Yeah, the CBFAR.
There's a customer advisory out there, and you know, we're still too small of a group to influence where we need to.
Surfer 195. Say hello to the Yardbird for me.
And quite honestly, I think in 2009, when the government looked at this, when Health Canada looked at this, or the FDA for that matter looked at this, well, this is just going to be a bump in the road. You know, this is a passing fad. Because did anyone, even the first vendors, did anyone dream of this becoming as big, as fast as it has?
No. No. I think that there is no stopping it now, but it can be regulated to death, maybe. They won't ever be able to completely stop this.
Now, for me, on a personal level, we get regulated, we get shut down, whatever. It doesn't affect me in my daily vape. I've got enough rebuildables, enough mods, and enough juice that I can get myself down to 0 nick before I run out of nick.
Yep. And yes, Kathmandu's got it there. Vaping will just go underground.
And
That's
most
exactly what happened.
Most people in this show right now, or in our Skype chat, or in any of the vaping Skype chats for that matter, have enough friends and enough knowledge to be able to keep themselves going and not get back on the stinkies. The problem for me is the newbies. How many people, if this gets regulated into oblivion, how many people will never have the chance to have an honest shot at quitting smoking? To change the way that they take their nicotine. Because at the end of the day, nicotine ain't going away. The addiction that each and every one of us have, it isn't disappearing like that. I would hazard a guess that almost every person that now vapes has tried cold turkey, have tried Shampax or Zyban or the patch or gum or inhalers.
Yep.
And what worked for them is nicotine. Well, what worked is vaping.
Yeah, I tried that. What is that? The one that makes you suicidal.
Champix.
Yes.
Chantix, Champix, the same thing, same drug.
Yeah,
Depends on what side of the border. Yeah.
I had that the year it came out, and not only did it make me suicidal, but it also made me very hostile.
And see, Zyban did that to me. It made me really hostile. And after trying that one, there was no way I was ever trying another pharmaceutical to quit.
Wow. See, I tried the Zyban first. Zyban gave me panic attacks. I've never had panic attacks in my life until I tried that drug. I was driving down the road one afternoon, and all of a sudden, I was 100% positive to the point where I was, shaking, sweaty palms, hyperventilating, that I was positive I was going to have a car accident. I had to pull over and sit there for an hour almost to calm down. And that was from Zyban. Now, Chantix just made me sick. Like throwing up, stomachache, headache, I couldn't take the drug. It didn't bother me emotionally.
What really upsets me when I watch some of the antis, the either the videos on YouTube or newsreels that are the people that are just so anti-nicotine, it's sickening. And their fear with e-cigs. We understand this helps people change. We understand, medically this is a good thing. We understand. But it looks like smoking, and we've spent so much time making smoking seem bad that now this could make it look cool and new and refreshing, and you're gonna get kids hooked on this, and then this won't work anymore, and they're gonna start smoking. Well, does this look like a fucking cigarette?
No, it doesn't.
No.
And I'm pretty certain that Vader Puddin' don't taste like any cigarette or tobacco product ever produced anywhere in the world before. Like, the biggest problem we face is our own stupidity in keep calling these things e-cigs.
Yeah, personal nicotine vaporizers is probably the best thing we could call them. Or nicotine alternative.
Right. Yeah, there is much better names than just e-cigs or electronic cigarettes. I mean, that isn't a name that, you know, regular vapors came up with. That's a name that manufacturers came up with.
You know,
Okay, I could see nebulizer working.
Or ENDS, electronic nicotine delivery system. I like
Yeah.
that too.
Ends could work. Yeah.
but really, like, other than the hand to mouth and you know the cloud we blow out, that's about as close as we get to this being smoking. Like it gives you not only the nicotine you need, but the hand to mouth, the visual effect, the whole inhalation, the same as you smoked. Everything that we need to trick the brain to make the change is here for us. And the hate that goes on towards this device or this lifestyle sickens me.
Yeah, there's plenty of that out there too. I've done lots of reading about the anti-smoking establishment that is against our community.
Yep.
It's pretty bad. Some of the times that I've spent on Vape TV at Blacksmith Pro Show, listening to him rant about those groups, they can get pretty bad.
Funny, Wayne.
I had one guy tell me that he's unwilling to try this because he knows that smoking will kill him, but he doesn't know what this is going to do. Well, if you know what you're doing already is going to kill you, then what's the problem in trying something else?
Right, exactly. And I've had people in my family for years who've been smokers all of their lives, and for years they've looked for alternative ways to quit. And they've tried patches and gums and medicines, and then after I started this, and they seen what it did for me, they finally jumped on board as well, and, well, now they're vapors, So, I mean, I guess it really boils down to somewhat of personal preference, but then it also comes into play where sometimes people really I guess you have to kind of prove it to them sometimes.
And
I mean, how do they say it? The proof is in the pudding?
well, we'll take care of that because you're getting a load of pudding.
Okay.
But with so much that goes on, that there's the people that have been able to stop cold turkey, and I find them to be a 50-50 crowd. Half of them are so excited that people have this as an option now, and that they see it working, and they're 100% in support of it. The other 50%, I think, are either jealous or upset that they had to do it the really, really hard way, and this wasn't there for them, or they didn't know about it, and so they're completely against it
Right.
because they didn't have it as their crutch to get them through.
Right.
And then you have the have never had a cigarette, have never had a dip of chew in their entire life, can't understand how anybody could be addicted to anything. You're a smoker, just stop. Well,
Yes, Vapor Chris, I can see you, buddy. Sorry, I had to do a little small shout out there.
No worries. Is there anybody you want to say a shout out to? Say hello to?
Well, I'll do a chat shout out here in a little bit as soon as we discuss this a little bit more.
Alrighty.
well,
But
that's a really good point, sir.
you were saying, Corey?
about the zero nick. Here's what I don't get. In Canada right now, Health Canada fully endorses zero nick flavored e-cigs. And they fully endorse
Okay.
nicotine in the patch form or inhaler form or gum form. But you combine the two things that they endorse into one product, and all of a sudden, no, just wait. We don't know what that's going to do. Uh, this is Zombill, Cat.
Yeah, hey, Catmandu. I'm sure somebody will throw my YouTube into the chat there. Thanks, Paper Chris.
Yeah,
Okay, but you were saying they endorse zero nick.
yep. They fully endorse zero nick disposables here. No issue at all. 100%.
Yep.
And they fully endorse the patch, the gum, the pills, the inhalers. Uh, they are regulated, of course, but they are fully endorsed. When the two come together, and now it's actually a nicotine e-cig,
Hmm.
it's no longer endorsed. It's well, we don't know what this is going to do. We don't have long-term studies. We don't have this. Well, they don't have long-term studies on the zero nick one either, but they endorse it. So why adding
Yeah.
one product that they do have studies on makes the whole thing invalid to them? I don't get the reasoning behind it, and I don't see how everybody else that is not in this community doesn't see through the bullshit.
Yeah, that really doesn't make sense to me. Huh. That's a very valid point.
Well, Darth Vapor, they're available in drugstores everywhere throughout Canada and gas stations in places where cigarettes are sold. They're right there, right out front, in full view. Where cigarettes are hidden behind, they can't be in display anymore, where kids can see them. They have to be behind sliding doors or lift up things. But the e-cigs with no nick are right out there, right in view. The no-nick e-cigarettes are available right beside the nicotine patches in the drugstore. So it's endorsed. It's there. And grocery stores, exactly, Kathmandu. They're there, but
And it has
the
been
minute you add
verbally,
nicotine to it, everybody freaks out.
yeah, and it's been verbally endorsed by members of HC in television interviews. Just not when there's nicotine. As soon as they bring up anything about nicotine, well, we don't know. There's no studies. But you got studies on nicotine. We've got studies going back to the 30s on propylene glycol. We've got studies on vegetable glycerin.
Hmm.
You know, but you put them together, and all of a sudden there's a problem.
Yep.
And yeah, there are places in
It's just
Canada. There's several places in Canada that you can go in and get a disposable with nicotine in it. You just won't find it in a pharmacy.
And Darth Vapor, yes, at Shoppers Drug Mart, at London Drugs, at Pharmasave. I've seen it in all three.
Yep.
The
You know
first place I saw it was London Drugs.
what brands are they? Just off top of your
Oh
head.
boy.
Vapor.
Now you're going to make me. No, you're going to make me go and look it up. For London Drugs, I will find it right now.
I got some Vapors right here.
'Cause I'm just curious because this might be stuff that I've seen before.
Cigonaut.
Oh, Lord. Horrible.
Smoke NV.
Okay, that one's not so bad.
Yeah, Smoke NV. Disposable singles, cartridges, rechargeable kits. Jasper and Jasper electronic cigarettes.
Jasper's not so bad. They've been around for a long time.
Well, there you go.
But Cigonaut?
But, I mean, London Drugs selling 3 separate brands.
Well, it's big business, and it's getting bigger business.
Yep.
And it's one of those things, either they get involved or they get run over. But, you know, it's almost like they're pushing the zero nick ones because they know that 99% of people that pick one up, it will not help. So they can say, well, we've run this. You know, these have been available. We haven't seen the numbers change. Da 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 da. It's a failed product. And so I think that the push behind the zero nick is almost a slap in the face. But in doing so, it opens that argument. Well, if nicotine's approved in this form, and everything else and the vaporizing of it is approved in this form, why can't we marry the two and all live happily together? You know, Tell me what tax figure I have to pay to get you off my back. I'll write a check, and you can leave me alone. I'll just vape in peace. Well, the thing is, PG as an inhalant has been studied since the 30s. And it is totally approved in vaporous form coming out of fog machines, which is way heavier and thicker than anything we can produce, even on my stupid, crazy, powerful mods.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so if it's totally acceptable to the FDA and Health Canada and all the different forms of government controls to be in a bar and be sucking in air that's absolutely thick with fog from fog machines, then it becomes a total misnomer in our vape.
Right. And just the other day, my best friend had to go to Walmart, okay, to buy just she had to go get some zero nick. So I had to look it up real quick for her, and Walmart had these bottles of what they call skin protectant, okay, and it's basically pure VG, but it's actually zero nick, but they sell it as a labeled skin protectant.
Yep.
Okay, but it's still VG. Okay, and on the label it actually does say vegetable glycerin, 99.9%. So
Now,
here again, you know,
Like that.
but see, you've got the USP on there, and that's absolutely critical. It has to be U.S. pharmaceutical grade or British pharmaceutical grade. Like we absolutely have to stress that if you're using a vegetable glycerin or a propylene glycol, it has to be pharmaceutical grade, because there are other things that can be there in the product that we just do not want. If it's got USP on the label, it's good. You know, it may not be the highest quality out there, but if it's vegetable glycerin and it says USP, it's gonna do the job.
Yep.
right.
Yep. And I have made lots of vape out of that, and it works great.
Sure.
But the inhalation studies on propylene glycol have been done since the 1930s. and they have been extremely intensive because of the fact that it's used in asthma inhalers, children's nebulizers, hospital oxygen systems, air conditioning
That's
systems.
exactly what it was, Surfer.
It's
It was
added.
the
It's added to
human
button
food.
bread. It's added to, commercially produced donuts. Besides how many others, hundreds of thousands of items that we use in our everyday. You can't buy a commercially produced shampoo that doesn't have propylene glycol in it.
Right. Exactly.
Toothpaste, mouthwash,
Mhm.
it's in everything. It's a base unit.
Yes.
It's a safe base unit.
And see, here we go back again to the whole thing about how are they gonna, when it comes to the PG and the VG, okay? They can't do anything about that, can they? It's in too many products.
So they can't ban it. And okay, I have a child that is on a nebulizer, and it's 5 milliliters twice a day. So the base unit of that is propylene glycol with a medical element added to it. He started on that when he was 6 months old. Now, in his teens, he only needs it when he gets a cold, or when it's in seasonal allergy. Most 99% of the year he doesn't use it anymore. But at a year old, that was an acceptable level for him to be inhaling twice a day. You spend a night in the bar, you're going to be inhaling 20 times more PG if they've got smoke machines running than you are if you're vaping 30 milliliters of juice a day. And how many people vape 30 milliliters of juice a day?
Not many.
Right. Not many.
If you start doing the math, it never adds up in the favor of the antis, ever.
Right.
What is the average consumption out there? Like I'm the exception to every rule when it comes to vaping, but what is the average consumption for vapors out there?
I'm somewhere between 10 and 15. I'd say 12, 13.
Are you talking about per day?
Per day.
Oh, you mean on the average per vapor? I'd say it's less than that.
No, for me, I am between 10 and 15. So I'd say 12 to 13 per day. But that's through a Genesis atomizer, which is so much more efficient and uses much more than, like, say, a VV Nova or a Stardust.
Well, right. I mean, when you get into the more advanced things like Genesis atomizers, dripping atomizers, things of that nature, of course you're going to use more juice. However, your typical vapor probably isn't going to use more than, I'd say, between 7 to 10 mils a day.
Right.
And see, I'm going to agree with what's in chat in that I'm going to go 1.5 to 3 mils a day as an average across the board.
Okay, so it's a lot less than what I'm thinking.
I was thinking more like 3 to 5. That was my guess, if you want to average it across the board.
Because, like I said, I am the exception to every rule when it comes to vaping, because my sweet spot is over 30 watts, and my consumption is around 25 to 30 mils a day.
Woo.
But
I'll say
on my
you
atomizer,
must be hanging out with MC.
Go ahead.
You must be hanging out with MC Vapes, right?
Well, my atomizer builds take about 1.5 mils of juice when I drip them, and I get 8 pulls before I need to re-drip. I run 0.5 ohm dual coils on massive air holes, and I'm rebuildable everything.
I totally get that. I totally get that.
And it's all relative. If I was
Oh
vaping
yeah.
24 milligram, my consumption would not be anywhere near what it is. But I'm at 6 and 8
Oh
milligrams.
yeah. Well, of course. I mean, what are you? You're using what, hybrids and probably the bigger Genesis, right?
Well, I have
Yeah.
everything. I'm a
Dual
collector.
coils. Yeah.
But my
Right.
number one most grabbed device right now is either a Chi-Yu with a Nimbus on top of it, or a Poldiac with a Nimbus on top of it, or a steam turbine on a custom wood mod. I'm all about the rebuildable, and it's all high power stuff.
Mhm.
Right. I actually am trying to get a Versa, so, and that's because my buddy Scott has one, so it'll be my first step into the hybrid world. Ah,
Now, I've seen a lot of different
okay.
mathematical calculations at figuring out the cigarette value to
Yeah.
to vaping, and there is an equation, and I don't have it written down right now, but it does work out to be semi-accurate, they think, but it basically works out to be, if you were doing 15 milliliters a day at 6 milligram, that basically works out to be the equivalent of 8 cigarettes. Because the nicotine level, in comparison to vaping out of a cigarette, and the way you absorb it, is so much higher in a cigarette than it is in vape.
Hmm.
And at the end of the day, how do you tell? Because there's been acetone and ammonia added to cigarettes to break down the molecules of the nicotine, so your body absorbs it faster.
Right.
Hmm. Yeah, see, I'm at 6 milligram, and I fill this tank at least 3 times, if not 4 times a day. Plus, I grab another device. Sometimes I can kill a tank in an hour and a half. That's 5 mils gone in an hour and a half.
Uh, I've done it that way before, but that's, I guess, if I'm like really busy doing stuff. Um, Generally, I kill a tank like 3.5, maybe 5 mils in 3 to 4 hours.
Generally, you do?
Yeah.
Well, then you're at least, I mean, if you're up for a 16-hour day,
Yeah.
think about how much you're going through per day.
Uh-huh. A lot.
A lot more than you thought.
Uh-huh.
See, when I first started vaping, I was at 32 milligrams, and a bottle would last me 10 days. A 30 ml bottle would last me 10 days. Now I'm lucky a 30 ml bottle lasts me 3 days. I'm lucky if it lasts me 3 days.
But there's times whenever I'll just set everything down. Like if I'm watching my shows,
Right.
and I won't be vaping, you know. And in the morning when I get up, I might have me a couple of vapes. And I, eat my breakfast. I'd have me a couple more vapes. But then, maybe an hour or so go by. Then I'll get into some casual vaping for a while, and then I'll step away for a while again.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way it works with me. But now if I'm getting ready to do a review, then I really get into it, because I'm getting my stuff ready, I'm getting things cleaned up, I'm getting my thoughts all together,
Right.
Getting my information together, I'm running around the internet, getting different leaks together, getting my video set up, so, yeah. So then I'm vaping a lot more than I normally would, So it kind of all evens out.
Yeah.
And for me,
That's the way I normally vape.
the heaviest time for me is when I'm in a hangout or doing a show. That's when I'm going to vape more than anything else. Good evening, Zai. And
Hey, Zajik.
if I make the mistake of looking at myself in the camera, I'm done. I'll lose the next half hour to watch myself blow clouds because I like blowing clouds. And that was the worst thing about Stick'em. When we had Stick'em and we had side cams, oh my god. You could get on a side cam and spend the entire day blowing clouds and wonder why you were so sick at the end of the day, why you had such a bloody nicotine headache.
I wish I could have been around for Stick'em days. I've always heard about Stick'em days, and I tell you, I am glad, okay, that I know Mark Vaughn, okay, and he's bringing side cams back.
He is?
Yeah, it might be another year, but they're going to show up.
Wow.
Yeah. He's been working on it. So.
Nice. Well, that'd be great.
Oh, yeah.
It adds a whole nother aspect to the show. And it makes the whole thing more
another
fun.
dimension.
Yep. I'm Darkside Vaper.
By the way, hi, Zai Chick. I'm going to do a chat call out here. You know what?
I'm katz123, right, but that's okay. Yeah. Okay.
So, you guys don't mind, because I know I got a bunch of friends here, so let me pull up the chat list, see who's here. Okay, I know that Tiger's here. So is Zai. I saw her. And I know a bunch of new people's here, too, that I've been getting to know. I see that Aussie is here.
Mm-hmm.
Down 4. Ace. Angie's here. Moon Snow. I think I know who Moon Snow is. I'm not sure. I see that Wayne is here. Ricardo Mon's here. Styling's here. And of course, I know that Yardbird is here through Surfer. Vapor's Break, and then so is Vapor Chris. And Shelly's here. And for the people that I don't see that are watching, they're probably over on Vaughn.
Oh, let me have a look at Vaughn. I meant to do that.
I forget.
Do I see anybody over there?
I honestly forget that we use a different chat than our broadcaster.
Nope, there's nobody in there.
Excellent.
Oh, okay. Well, they might not have registered on Justin either, and they might just be watching on just the normal feed. So if you guys are watching, hello to you too. So.
Yeah, I meant to keep that other tab open and forgot about it.
Okay, Catmandu, I didn't know, I'm not exactly sure who you are, but hello.
And hi, Ricardo Mon. I didn't see you sneak in earlier.
And that's great, Shelly, that over 2 gram was raised over at Quest. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. So is that all over and done with now over at Quest then?
I believe it's
The
been done
fundraiser?
for a while. Yeah.
Nice.
It should have been winding up just as we got on air.
Wonderful.
Ah, Moonsnow is Matt. Okay, I know who that is. Dinah.
There seems to be a problem with my batteries.
Uh-oh, that's not good.
They keep going dead on me. It seems to go right along the lines with my atomizer keeps going dry on me too.
Oh boy. Yeah, thanks for coming out, Chris. I'll get with you soon, buddy. And it's good to know that you're out of the hospital again.
Maybe it's the 30 watts, eh, Chris?
Well,
Maybe.
It definitely plays into it. I did try figuring it out the other day, what amount of battery power I do go through in the course of a day. If you're vaping, there's no place for protected batteries. Your protection should come in safe chemistry, as in IMR batteries. A protected lithium ion is not the direction you want to go. You want to go with an IMR battery, which is a safe chemistry. I don't want an electronic circuit to protect me. I'd rather have the protection built right into the chemistry of the battery so it's explosion resistant.
Hydrogen IMRs.
Yep.
That's the way to go.
Yep.
That's what I tell everybody whenever they want to go to mechanical mods. Hydrogen IMRs.
Yep. AW, EFES, Panasonic. That's where you want to be.
Okay. Good night. Good night, Shelley. Thanks for coming to the show.
Good night, Shelley.
Good night, Shelley.
If you're selling something like a ZMAX or using a ZMAX, you want to be running a AW or a EFEST or a Panasonic IMR or IMR hybrid hydrain battery. You're going to get better life out of the battery. It handles the load you put on it so much better. And the safety is built right into the chemistry of the battery. I do not agree with stacking. If you're running a ZMAX, there's no reason to stack. Just because it can stack doesn't mean you need to. I run my ZMAX with just a single 18650. Now, my VMAX, which is built for stacking, I'll stack two 18350s in it. My Buzz Pro, which is built to have 16340s, I run stacked 16340s in. My Saber Touch, which is built for stacked 18350s, gets stacked 18350s. That said, always AWs. If I'm stacking, I stack AWs, and that is it. Well, with at least the ZMAX, if you're going to stack the two 18350s instead of using a single 18650, you will get a little more punch out of the mod because the circuitry isn't really up to snuff. The circuitry it doesn't bleed off the extra voltage properly. So at 15 watts set, if you're stacking, it is much hotter than 15 watts off a single 18650. That's a flaw in the device. Now, my take is you stack when you have to. You don't stack all the rest of the time. And with stacking, there's things you need to remember. You need to label your batteries. You have to buy them in pairs, use them in pairs, charge them in pairs, throw them out in pairs. You need to label them. 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, so on and so forth. And you want to always put the if you're having 1A on the top and 1B on the bottom this time, the next time you want to change them so B is on top and A is on the bottom. Because the top battery on top works twice as hard as the battery on the bottom. And so you want to be changing those so you're not building up your rock content in your top battery too high compared to the other one and creating a high draw situation that puts a battery into risk.
Right. Well, what is that? I can't pronounce the name. Is that Marmister? They're asking, what do you guys vape at? Well, as far as wattage goes, I go between 12 to 14 watts. Just depends on what my resistance level is. And as far as voltage goes, I really don't use voltage anymore. I really haven't used voltage in a long time, unless of course it's on my mechanicals, and that's just basically just regulated at 3.7. So.
And okay, like what I was saying about the batteries there, the top battery in a stack always works harder because it has the bottom battery has 3.7 volts. The top battery in a stack situation now has 7.4 going out of it. It will always work harder than the battery on the bottom. If you have stacked batteries in one vent, it will always be the top battery that vents. Your bottom battery will never be the one that fails. It will always be the top battery in a stacked situation.
Well, you just schooled me on that. I didn't know that before. Thank you.
And on the Pro Tanks, EVODs, anything like that, I am pulling one of 3 wicks out. The EVOD, Pro Tank, any of these bottom coils have 1 live wick and 2 dead wicks laying on top of the coil. I pull the coil apart and I take 1 wick out because I think they're too tight.
Yep, that's what I always do too.
And okay, Surfer, here's the thing. I have devices that stack. This one's custom built. It stacks 2 26700 batteries, but it's variable voltage. So as you can see, I'm running it at 4.5 volts. But the atomizer on is 0.5 ohms.
Two of those batteries.
Yep. So I'm running 0.5 ohms at 4.5 volts. The other ones I have that are stacked are all variable voltage devices. If I'm running mechanical, I run a single 18650 battery without exception. That's not fair either. Both of these,
or a single one of these.
Yeah, I was going to say both of these are single 26700 devices, fully mechanical. But I don't think that in this day and age there's a reason to stack anymore.
Right.
With rebuildables so prevalent, I don't need to stack to get the vape I want. I just build a lower resistance coil and I use a better quality battery.
The only time I stack is 18350s on my Vamo. That's
Yep.
it.
But it was built to do it. Like, there's a difference. It's not like you're
Right.
using a GG and stacking to hit
Right.
8.4 volts, total. It was built to do it.
Exactly.
It's got the safety circuitry in it to be able to do it. It's got
Right.
a hot
Exactly.
spring in it. You've got many safeties. Well, here's why I go mechanical instead of variable voltage. Just price? No, my mechanicals are worth 10 times more money than any VV out there. It's all about power.
Right. Exactly. Mechanicals. Your mechanicals can do a lot more than VVVWs. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Because you can take any Genesis atomizer, any dripping atomizer, you can build your coil to your specification, okay? There's so many different Jennies out there, so many different dripping atomizers out there that you can pick and choose which one you want to suit your need, okay?
Right.
And then that suits your style of vape, okay? And that's the reason why mech mods are so much better than VVVW.
No ego is considered a mechanical. None of them.
No.
They
No.
all have an electronic chip in them. They're all regulated.
Okay.
Egos are basically beginning vapor devices or backup battery. That's all they are.
Can you hold up one of the big batteries? I keep green screening mine.
You bet. You bet.
The battery
There it is.
The battery that Kathy's holding up right now, that is a Molicel 26700 hybrid battery. That is capable of constant use at 40 amps. 40 amps. Continuous output. Peak output of 80 amps. So you compare that to a let's compare it to a ZMax. A ZMax is one of the most powerful devices readily available, with being able to do 5 to 6 amps output. That battery can do 40 amps output continuous without overheating. That's what it's rated at, is 40 amps continuous. So I can build a 0.1 ohm coil and vape the ever-living piss out of it and never be in danger. And never ever be in danger other than of overdoing my nick. I have that exact battery in this device. This is fully mechanical. There's no wiring in it. There's no spring. It's a mechanical bottom switch. I'm just making contact in between the battery and the center post. And I have a rebuildable atomizer inside here.
And there's the switch.
There's no circuitry telling me I can't do this. There's nothing in here.
You just press that up and it makes contact on the battery, and that's it. That's it. It's done.
There's nothing in this device telling me what I can and can't do.
Right.
I tell it what it can and can't do. And that's what I like. Now, it's not for everybody. There's tons of people out there that don't want that power, don't need that power, and that's where the variable voltage or variable wattage devices come in, and they're great. The quality has gone up so much, it's not even funny. Like, I do own a Pravari and use it regularly. I have 2 DNA 20 mods in the process of being built right now. One is being built and one is on its way in the mail to me right now.
Pravaris are great. They're excellent quality mods. They hold up. They were at one time considered the big boy variable voltage mod of the industry. I don't really think that they are anymore, but I think that ProVape is probably working on something right now that they'll be ahead of the game again soon.
Well, the thing is, the Pravari, as far as I'm concerned, is still the best built variable power device on the market.
You bet it is.
I
have to agree.
I use it at work because it can hit the concrete and keep running. It never fails. It has never, ever, ever failed on me. And it's not my
I'll
first.
agree with you on
It's
that.
not my first go around with Pravari. This is my third Pravari. My first one now belongs to Tiger Tiger. I gave it to her. My second one belongs to oh god, I'm gonna pull a blank. Brian Sig. He got it through the raffle from me. They're both in use every single day. Mine, it lives in my lunch kit. It gets abused to no end. I run a pro tank on it, and it's my daily vape at work every day.
I can agree with you there, but I really don't know from personal use because I haven't had a Pravari yet.
Well, I bought a Provari for my 1-year vapiversary, and it was all I used all day, every day for a year until my 2-year vapiversary, where I bought Provari number 2.
You can't.
And that first one is still going. It's hit the ground, it's hit the concrete, it's hit the gravel. There has never been a thing wrong with it. It works every single day. It now is topped with a Zen, a Ziadi Pro.
Very nice.
And it's my all-day vape. Both of them. All-day vapes. I recommend them to anybody who ever, if you've got the money and you can get one, do it because it'll be the last variable-powered device you ever need to buy.
Yep.
Period.
They are wonderful.
Well, I have plans to get one. It's going to be a couple of months from now, but yeah.
Yeah, do it. Get one. And even buy one used. If you can't afford one new, buy one used because they just don't go wrong. They just don't.
Yeah, they are, as far as I'm concerned, the high point of mass-produced devices.
Yep.
And here's the other thing. I complain about variable wattage, variable voltage devices not allowing me to go low res. Well, it's all a bullshit complaint because if you got variable power, you don't need to go low res. There's no reason if you got variable power to go low res. Build at 2.5 ohms, which by the way is the ultimate place to have a coil. If you've got the power to push it, the best producing coil you'll ever make will be at 2.5 ohms. It seems to be a magic number. For me to hit the watts I want, though, I've got to turn way too much power to it. So I go the other direction. But, this is what I've done for almost 2 years, is just test. Buy, build, test, abuse, report.
Right.
I'm one of the few people, I literally have 100 mods, or very close to it, at my disposal, right here, to play with. Everything from the Sigalis to the one-off customs, one-of-a-kind, nobody else will ever be able to own one devices.
Mm-hmm.
Rebuildables. Basically, if it's been made, I own it. If I don't own it, I have friends that have helped me out and at least put it into my hands for a short period of time so that I can form an opinion on it and be able to talk knowledgeably about it. And in all of that, what I've learned is if you're running variable power and want to rebuild, build at 2 to 2.5 ohms, you'll be happy. Just turn the power up to hit the vape you want. If you're building mechanical, buy a calculator. Learn how to use it. Figure out your watts. I will call my mechanical device a variable wattage device because I vary the watts by how I build the coil.
Right.
If I want to be vaping 26 watts, I build the coil to vape 26 watts. If I want to be vaping 35 watts, I build the coil to vape 35 watts. If I don't want to be vaping that hot, I build it to vape at 10 watts. It allows me to do whatever I want to do with it.
I have to agree. For mechanical, yes. And then for me, my happy place has always been about 10 watts, which is exactly what Corey says, with anywhere between 8 and 10 watts.
And Rick, the
And I'm
family
usually around 9 watts.
the family picture is coming. Kingpin and I have been talking about it, and I've got 3 on the way that I promised after they show up I will take a proper family picture, and I'll get it up on the Facebook group as well as in the High End Mods forum.
My sweet spot has always been right around 11 to 12 watts.
And you know that's
Although
a fairly normal place to be.
Although lately I've been vaping at I've been able to hit 13 lately, you know.
And one thing
And I think that's because you know I've managed to be able to get, because of the PTRK method.
Yep.
I've been able to build my RSST and my AGAT 2 Plus. I had a little trouble building the AGAT 2 Plus at first, but I managed to get it with SS rope. Okay. Had to. What I did was I put a little piece of SS rope down inside of it, and I put some 400 mesh on the top of that to cover up where I put the coil on it.
Yep.
Did a 3/4 wrap, and I managed to get 1.7 ohms. Okay. I can actually push 13 watts on that.
Excellent. I can't vape quite that high. That tends to choke me. I'm happier, 9, 10 watts.
And see, I'm
But
a vaping
whatever
retard.
your happy place is.
I'm always on the high side, except with my Pro Tank. I run my Pro Tank. Mine currently tests out at 2.3 ohms, and I run it at 4.3 volts on the Provari. And that is where I like the Pro Tank. It works very well for me. Is it going to be a good enough vape that it'll come out of my lunch kit and get a place on my desk? Nope. Because if I'm at my desk, I've got the time to monkey around and play with my rebuildables and vape the way I want to vape.
Right.
But at work, I don't have that time, and I don't have that luxury. So I take something that never fails, and that is the Provari and the Pro Tank.
Now, I have 2 other atomizers that I haven't built yet. I have a Euphoria, which is the Penelope clone.
Yep.
And I also have a BT804, which is a Dream Tank. And I had to wait to get, because the guy that I got it from, the pins that go down inside where you connect the positive and negative wire to, the pins were lost. Okay, so I had to get pins from another source, and I had to wait to get the pins, so I haven't built that one yet. So I have those 2 that I can mess with, just haven't done it yet.
Now, I haven't played with the Dream yet. I've got a K-Fun, and I've got a Russian on the way, and I've got another K-Fun on the way.
Mm-hmm.
I like that Russian 91. That looks like a really good tank.
And I am getting the Cartel. I was able to make the first 200 on that, Rick. I didn't think I was going to. I got in on the backup list, and I think it was Friday I got the email. Maybe Thursday I got the email saying I got bumped up to the real list. And so I bought it, and I bought the 18650 tube for it at the same time.
Now, what is the Cartel?
It's a new mod that's going through its first release of 200 right now. It's a full mechanical, really nice looking device. Retails at $209 plus shipping, and then the accessory tubes for it, because it comes with an 18350 tube. but you can get an 18490 tube or an 18650 tube, and they're $49 a piece.
Okay.
So it's going to come out to be a $259 device.
Who makes the cartel?
Cartel Mods. It's built in
Cartel Mods,
California,
okay.
I believe.
Oh, okay, good. USA. All right. So you don't hear too many mods being in the USA. That's good.
But one of the problems is it's hard for an American or a Canadian to compete with overseas labor rates.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Kingpin, they accepted my money on it.
The other thing that I've been really tempted about doing is more of the microcoils. I haven't really tried that yet, but what do you think about the microcoils?
I've played with them a little bit. It's actually what I have in that monster mod right now is a microcoil. I formed it around a syringe, and then I pulled 1 mil silica through it. And it works well. Like, everybody's seen the clouds coming off that thing. It works quite well. It wasn't fun to build because I built it with 26 gauge. And wrapping 26 gauge around a syringe, not fun.
I'll bet.
And okay,
I wonder.
Go ahead.
I wonder if that would be easier to build if you were able to wrap it while the wire was electrified.
Well, yeah, if you could energize it so it was glowing and wrap it that way, it would be easier. But that would involve me building a rig to be able to do that. Quite honestly, what I did was I grabbed an old blunt, a long one,
Yes.
and I clipped the end of the wire on with a set of locking forceps, and then I grabbed the other end of the wire with a pair of needle nose pliers, and I just used the tools to force the wrap, and then I used my fingernails to push it back together.
Okay.
And just got it as tight as I could and kept pulling to tighten until it looked like a fully collapsed little tiny spring. And I believe that I had 14 wraps, and it comes in at 0.52 of an ohm because everything's touching.
Wow. And what gauge wire did you wrap that with, Corey?
26.
26? Jesus. Okay.
Nice.
Okay, you wrap yours and then adjust it while it's hot. Okay, Blake. Yeah, that's my next thing I want to try.
What, a microcoil?
Yep.
Okay.
That's the next one I want to try.
I did it on the one. But it works. I'm not going to say it works better than my standard build. And it's harder to do than my standard build, and I can't do my juice catcher on it. And you know that with a dripper, I'm pretty anal retentive about my juice catcher build. So
Yep.
the microcoils, as far as I'm concerned, for me, are a fail. Because it limits what build I can run.
The other question I had is, can the microcoils be done with a Jenny-style wick? Can you use a stainless steel wick?
I honestly don't see why not. And it might actually be easier.
Okay.
it would be easier to fish a loop of, or a straw, for lack of a better term, of stainless steel through that coil than it would be to get silica pushed through it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to try it both ways. I don't know when yet, but I am going to give it a shot and see what it turns up as. I've got the mechanical mod to build it on, so it'll work.
And for me, it was just an experiment. I didn't know where it was going to end up. I just went with it, and then put it on the device I wanted it on after it was all said and done.
Right.
And I accept the fact that if that coil starts separating, my ohms are going to go crazy. Like, it's going to go high ohm on me fairly quick. Because why I'm able to maintain such a low ohm on so many wraps is because the coils are all touching. It behaves like a single coil.
And it doesn't sag. It doesn't sag or anything weird on
Not
you
with
like that when
26
you.
gauge.
Okay. I wonder how high a number you can go with. Do you think it would work with 28 gauge?
It would probably work better with 28 or 30 gauge than it does with 26.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much what most people are using is 28 and 30.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least that's what everybody I know of that's doing microcoils is using.
All right.
So what are we vaping tonight?
Well, tonight I am bouncing back and forth in between my JR Custom Turning olive wood mod with a steam turbine on it and Vader
Beautiful.
pudding in the tank, and I am dripping sugar cookie on a Nimbus on my Chi-Yu, and I'm dripping sugar cookie in a Cyclone on the Destroyer, and caramel sundae on a Nimbus in my two-tone Poldiac.
Wow.
And what about you, Kathy? What are you vaping on tonight?
Me, it's been the Z-Addy Pro and the RSST on the Tesla. These are both homemade DIY juices. This is a pomegranate high VG, just a mix I make at home, 8 milligrams. And this one here, I forget what I got in there. Might be my caramel cheesecake. So, and again, it'll be around the 8 milligram, 6 to 8 milligrams is where I'm sitting now.
Yeah, and I'm at 8 milligrams on everything I'm vaping today.
Okay, well, I don't have my Genesis set up tonight, but I've got my Mount Baker Vapor Vanilla Ice and my G50 on my KTS. I've got Vapor Lady Lounge's Wakiki Melon Delight on my Vamo in my Pure Tank. I've got, let's see, Baca Vapes Tiramisu in a Pro Tank Original version 1 on my K200. I've got, you guys are going to get a laugh out of this one. I've got Caramel by e-cig in my Vision Victory on my Bobo.
The bowling pin,
That's
the
a
vaping boil
conversation
pin.
piece. Right, that's a conversation piece. And then I've got, what do I got in this one here? Oh, this is, what was it called again? Oh, that's right. It's Yeah, Black Cloud Vapors, Strawberry Bubblegum, and Mini David on my K100. So an assortment of stuff.
And somebody asked what pomegranate flavoring I'm using. There it is, a link for you from Flavor Fog.
Yeah, that Uncle Yardbird's Black Honey Tobacco is good stuff.
Pomegranate is one of the easier flavors to use. It's got a really definite mixing point, anywhere up to 15%. You know, if you want to blend it with something, it's good. You know, anywhere above 3%. If you want it to be first and foremost in your flavor, depending on your taste buds, you're going to be in between 11 and 15%, and you're not going to cross 15%. If you want a pure...
How good is it? It's good.
If you want a pure pomegranate, you know, just the taste of pure pomegranate, nothing else going on, you are going to want 15% Loran's pomegranate, 1% sweetener, and that's it.
I actually happen to have a full arrangement of Loran's flavorings, and I've also got some other flavorings by another company because I actually have some DIY reviews that I'm going to do soon. And I just recently did a DIY myself. It was a, what was it? It was like a cherry pie. It actually turned out pretty decent. I did a 18 milligram 50-50 mix. It was all right.
And see, like, you're asking about PG, VG mixes. I mix for what the person on the other end wants. Personally, I like a 30% PG, 70% VG mix. That's my favorite place to be. But,
oh, yeah, you like a 70-30, huh?
Yeah, 30-70.
That's actually my personal preference, too.
Whereas most people I'm finding 50-50 is what they're used to, and 50-50 is what they ask for, because they want it to be able to work whether
Right.
dripped or in a cardo tank or in anything. And 50-50 works in every function.
Yes.
Whereas my personal 30-70 will not work in a cardo tank. It will not work in a straight cardo. It's not so nice in a disposable atomizer. But the flavor is just, it's right there. The vapor is thick, and you know, the vapor is so thick coming off it, you can almost chew your vape. Like, it's extremely rich. And it's more mellow on the throat. Like, the higher the VG, the more mellow it is on your throat, which allows you to push your temperature. And for me, I don't want the throat hit. I want the temperature. I want it to be warm.
You know, I gotta say, a lot of people that I have actually talked to, like in the UK, okay, they're used to their local vendors selling them 100% VG.
And that's what I vape, is as close to 100% VG as I can get.
I'm not sure if that's like a regional thing, because I know in the States, most of the vendors in States tend to go with a 70-30 or a 60-40.
Well, you're going to have the higher PG mix because of the people's love of the cardo tank. And also the throat hit. You know, definitely you're right with saying about throat hit. That said, a person that's used to their 12 watt 70/30 blend 24 milligram juice can grab one of my devices with 6 milligram or 8 milligram 30/70 juice, and the throat hit they're going to get is going to blow the back of their head off.
Right.
Because of the heat that I vape at. If I tried vaping a 70/30 PG/VG juice, it would probably kill me. I'd choke. I couldn't do it.
Now, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, but PMARM, I'm not allergic to PG per se, as in I didn't have any hives or throat swelling up or anything like that, but I do have a sensitivity to it. I don't feel well when I vape a high VG or high PG juice. I get sort of like muscle aches in the large muscles, like in my arms and my legs, almost like an achy feeling that you would get from having a flu, but not any kind of respiratory problems from it. Just the achiness, the tiredness, the lethargy, just feeling kind of icky. So no, not a true allergy, but definitely I can't vape it on a regular basis. So that's why I go with as high or as close to 100% VG as I can get for myself.
And
I know people that are allergic to because there are juice makers that make the base of their juice they use what is that I'm trying to remember
The PEG 400?
PEG 400.
What it comes down to is like I think it's like a coconut base.
That's VG. VG is either coconut or palm.
I'm right here, Vaping Vic.
And if I've never heard of anybody that's bothered by palm VG, but the coconut VG, and like I don't understand the big difference. Like it's the same bloody plant, but there is a difference. Like one of the ladies that I hosted with at TVN was very allergic to standard VG, but palm VG didn't bother her at all. And I know now I've met several people like that. And that tends to be a more common problem than the PG.
Yeah, that's it. The palm. That's what I was trying to think of. It's that's what some people are allergic to. So they have to go with a different. They have to go with different style juice making.
Huh.
That's what I'm thinking of. Because I've heard certain people say that they can't have certain juices from certain vendors because they make it a certain way with certain ingredients.
They won't be an oil base. They can't be. Or it wouldn't be vegetable glycerin.
Now, with the high VG and flavor percentages and so on and so forth, when I started doing DIY, I was quite a proponent of if I'm upping my VG, I'm upping my flavor. And then I found out that there is vast differences in the quality of VG and the clarity and the flavor point of VG. And so I just got my hands on the absolute best base I could buy. The absolute best VG that I get my hands on. And now my flavor percentages, they don't change whether I'm mixing 10% VG or 80% VG. My flavor stays exactly the same because my VG that I'm using has zero flavor. It is clean and clear and beautiful and thick like table syrup. It is just gorgeous stuff.
Okay, so that's what I call you, is PMA. Now I got it figured out. Thanks, Phil.
Ah, okay. I seen Aussie over here, Vic. So Aussie must be like in 3 or 4 different channels at the same time.
Now, are you asking about storing the juice, whether it's in the fridge or in a dark and cool place? I've never had nicotine last over a couple weeks, so I don't worry about storing it. I store it in airtight cooler, uh, room temperature, completely out of the light. It's in a light tight, airtight cooler. Uh, but yeah, I buy it in a volume that I can burn through it every 2 weeks.
Bacteria does not grow in PG, and I haven't had a VG go bad on me either. So I don't think that refrigeration would do that either.
And as for
Well, the way I've always
go ahead, Bill.
the way I've always been told is that it's not good to refrigerate juice after it's been made. After you first open that bottle, you're supposed to just leave it in a dark, cool place.
Well, that's to help the steeping process. Because if you refrigerate it, it won't steep. It's not a good thing, bad thing, yes, no. You won't do any harm to your juice by refrigerating it. You'll just slow down the steeping process. So what should take you 3 weeks is now going to take you 3 months if it's in the refrigerator.
Yeah. I don't think it would separate PMA.
Okay, because I've always heard that it's actually harmful to the juice if you actually try to refrigerate it after you open it. Huh. Okay.
No, when it comes to juice, there's an awful lot of wives' tales out there, and there's an awful lot of half-truths. And, I am with Farmer. There will be some separation in a fridge.
Really?
If you have
I've never had anything separate.
But do you have anything with alcohol-based flavors in it?
No.
If you have something with alcohol-based flavors in it, it will separate in refrigeration. Which isn't a big deal. You just shake it back up.
Yeah, and I keep my Nick in glass too.
Well, that's actually 2 things I've learned tonight then. Guess we learn something new every day.
Anything with vanilla has... Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, what does vanilla have?
Alcohol.
No. Sorry, false. Come again.
Most vanilla extracts contain alcohol.
Yes, that's cooking vanilla extracts, not vanilla flavorings.
Ah, okay.
They may have a touch of alcohol in them, but they are a PG-based flavoring. if you go onto a site like the Flavor Apprentice, they mark whether it's an alcohol flavoring or not beside it, because if it's an alcohol flavoring, it has to ship ground. It can't ship through the mail system. So they actually mark exactly which flavors are alcohol based and which ones are PG based. And so 99% of our flavorings, unless you go looking for specific ones, are going to be PG based. You can get alcohol based ones if you're looking for organics, because PG is not an organic. So if you're looking for organic flavorings, they are going to be alcohol based. If you're getting absinthe flavorings, that's alcohol based. Orange flavorings, alcohol based. Any citrus flavoring will be alcohol based. And you know, your black licorice will be alcohol based. Cola, a good cola syrup will be alcohol based. So on and so forth. But with vanillas, vanilla bourbon is the only one I know of that's alcohol based.
Wow.
Since we're on the subject of juice making, why would anyone use vinegar
To change the pH of the juice? And Vic, Ecto is a alcohol based flavoring because it will not ship. They say it's alcohol based because it has to ship ground. Hypno from TPA they call alcohol based because it has to ship ground. Yes, of course, we live in Canada.
Yep. I do. Corey does. Zombill does not. Where are you, Zombill?
Oh, I actually live in Missouri. I'm
Missouri.
right outside, yeah, I'm right outside of St. Louis, a little town called Wildwood.
The base flavoring that makes those citruses is an oil base. I'll give you that, Vic. But the shipping restrictions are because of the alcohol content in that flavoring. But if I have something wrong, Vic, correct me so I don't make the same mistake a second time.
High-End Mods is now open for all those who want to register.
Oh, that's nice. I'll have to take a look at that. So I know another mod that I've actually been looking at. What's your thoughts on the BAM, Corey?
As in this guy right here?
Sure. What's your thoughts on that?
It's a nice device. It's not set up for going really low res, but it works very well. I like the battery. I like the big batteries. Okay, uh, Phil, with the learning curve on rebuildables, it all depends on if you have time to fiddle or not. I think the learning curve is really quick, and most people get it figured out within a day or two, so that it's functional and they're happy, and then the learning takes months after that to perfect. But it all depends. If you do not like to fiddle with things, you're probably not going to want to stick with it for a period of time.
Phil, I'll say this much about rebuildables. Once you get it figured out and you've done it 4, 5, 6, 7 times, it'll be a breeze after that.
Yep.
But until you actually start doing it, it's just like the old saying goes, practice makes perfect.
Oh, I don't see it as cost savings. Now, if you buy one device and you're happy with it and you just rebuild that one device, it is much cheaper than buying cardos or atomizers. I am more the to-do, I want the vape the way I want it. I want to be able to tailor it to me. I want to be able to build it exactly why I do it. And so it's for flavor, it's for throat hit, it's for heat. And I control how my own vape is.
It's more of an ongoing thing, Phil. It's like trying to find a unicorn. You keep searching for your ideal all-day vape. Your magic. Oh my God, this is the perfect thing.
Yeah, and it's taking the
when
hobby
you think you found it.
Go ahead.
When you think you found it, you'll find something better.
And for me, it's taking the hobby one step further.
Yeah, Phil. You got it, buddy.
And see, asbestos, that is exactly why I like rebuilding. Because...
Me too.
Yeah, I'm a lifetime fiddler. I take shit apart, I put stuff together, I build stuff.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Reminds me of being a kid with my dad, 7 years old, out in the garage, helping him rebuild the engine on the car.
And when I first started rebuilding, it took a pile of time to get coils I was happy with and a rebuild I thought was right. And now I clear a spot on my desk, and in anywhere, if I'm on camera doing it, about 3 to 5 minutes. If there's no camera I'm trying to stay in front of, a minute, and whatever I'm rebuilding is back and running. Dual wicking, dual coiling in Genesis, that takes a little bit more than 3 or 5 minutes. I've played with the DNA 20. I do not currently have one here, Phil. I have 2 of them on the way. And my thoughts on them are they're the next evolution in variable power, because now you can have variable wattage up to 20 watts that can do low res in any shape you want. You want a box mod? Make it happen. You want a tube mod with that, make it happen. If you want something totally custom, one of a kind, make it happen. I have not done quads yet, and I don't know if I will, Rick.
Is it fair to say that the DNA 20 is almost the mechanical Kavari?
No, because it's variable wattage. Like it just changes the game. Like it allows.
It's like the next step up from that, right?
Yeah, it is. It is the next step up, and it allows the average modder, as long as you can read a schematic and do a little bit of soldering, you can now have a custom one-of-a-kind variable wattage device that will work properly.
Wow.
And like,
Actually, I wouldn't mind having the MVP version 2.0.
I will grab one at some point in time. My version 1 got used quite a bit. It doesn't really get used anymore, but they're a nice device for out and about, and just they're pocket friendly, and you throw an EVOD on top of them, and they work quite well.
It's exactly why I want the MVP version 2.0 is for whenever I leave here.
So it more or less looks like what you're wanting, Phil, is a custom finished Hana mod.
I don't know, I haven't seen the MVP Mini. You happen to have one of those?
No, I don't. The majority of my collection is mechanicals or custom built variable voltage. But by and far the majority of it is mechanical. My MVP is in Realtree Camel. And I can't match an R2D2 wrapped VAML. But if you give me a second here, I will pull out an R2D2 mod.
I think I might know where you got that from, too.
I believe in February, Rick. I really don't use this one at all. This is a collectible. I bought it in the St. Baldrick's children's charity auction.
Yep. That was the Jibba auction.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And that was made by...
it was made by Dave.
Dave, yep. Dave the Dumb Brother.
good cause, and happy to help support it.
Yep, one of a kind.
And I am Darkside Vaper, so I had to have it. And then I've got the lightsaber as well. And these aren't really items that you vape. Like, they'd go to a vape meet or something like that, but they're just collectibles. They're cool things to have.
Right, conversation pieces, yeah. Show pieces.
Quite honestly, the batteries are just too hard to change in that R2D2 mod to be using it all the time. You got to disassemble it to change the batteries.
Oh.
Well, what are you going to do? Like, it is what it is. It's exactly what it was built to do. It's a collectible.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a daily vape. But it does vape quite well. It's regulated 5 volt. It works very well. Performance-wise, it could be a daily vape without any issue at all. Just the battery change, it can sit on the shelf and get out, come out, get wiped off, and go to a vape meet or out and about to show off. But that's about it.
So I heard you earlier say that this is the last showing of True North. What's your show going to be called from here on out?
It'll be Vape Night in Canada, and we're bringing on 3 more co-hosts and do a roundtable format. And what it does is it lightens the load on each person and makes the shows more enjoyable. If it's not so much work, if 1 or 2 people aren't having to spend all that time getting the content, if it can be spread out, because you got to remember, I do a show Friday night as well. Kathy does other shows. Kathy runs another network as well. When it comes to this, we're pretty busy, and so being able to bring in other people and be able to spread the load out, and then it's fun. Having people to sit here and chat with is fun.
Sure.
And it gives you a chance to take a weekend off every once in a while if necessary.
Yeah.
If it's just happens to be a long weekend and you want to go away, or you're out of town for some reason and you just can't make it, then there's somebody there to fill in for you without you scrambling to try to find someone to fill in. Because if there's 5 different hosts that are scheduled to be there, then at least, there's always going to be a show for you guys.
I'm going to weigh in on the Nintendo controller DNA mod. I'm of the right age to have a little bit of love for the original Nintendo controller. And my kids are old enough that they would all understand that this isn't a toy, that this is a mod. But if I had kids that were in that 7 and under, I don't know if I would feel as warm towards it as I do with when my youngest is 13. I'd be a little more worried about the kids thinking it's something for them, and it would get grabbed off a desk.
Yes.
So in this stage in life, I'm 100% for it. I would buy it, I would vape it, and I'd be proud of it. That said, I would rather have it out of a Wiimote than out of the NES controller. A Wiimote with the trigger as the fire button for the DNA 20 would be absolutely perfect. I think I may have to send a burnt out Wiimote to Ricardo Mon.
That's cool. That would be a really choice for, or that'd be a really choice mod. I mean,
Well, it would be a fairly easy mod, I think, because your battery compartment is right there. Like, you'd have to switch the wiring around in the battery compartment, but you could run dual 14500s to it without a problem. You know, the proper cover is right there. The button placements are right there. It would just take the right modder to make it happen. And I'm not that right modder, but thankfully, Ricardo Mon is a good friend, and if I send him the parts and pay the bill at the end of it, he will build it for me.
Nice.
yeah.
I don't think it would. I'm 99.9% certain it would not do it.
Sorry, I had to shift a little bit here. Okay, Surfer, thanks for coming to the show, bud.
Yes, thank you. Enjoy your evening.
Good night, Surfer.
And tell Yard I said call.
And Phil, I don't think that they've got the amp output to safely do it without damaging circuitry. Quite honestly, the battery life on my phone is bad enough as it is. If I vaped off it too, it'd be absolutely atrocious.
Wasn't there some kind of an MP3 mod a couple of months ago?
You know what? I saw something about that on Facebook too. I don't remember the details, but
See, that'd be like the closest thing I've ever seen to an Android phone mod.
What kind of power would your mod supply to your phone in a jam?
I've charged my phone off my MVP several times.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's one thing Heineken got right about that. Huh?
Yep.
It's like a
And then-
power brick.
Yeah, and then don't forget this charger, the X-Star WP2, has the USB output on it, which can charge a cell phone
Yep. It can
with
take
your 18650 batteries.
Yep.
Oh, speaking of which, I noticed the other day on the X-Star site, they've got some kind of anniversary edition charger going to be released or has been released.
Really?
Yeah, it looks really nice. It's like a two-bay.
On the Xtar site?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, let's go have a look.
I've got all the other X-Star chargers, so
It's some kind of anniversary edition. I think they're fixing to celebrate some sort of major anniversary or something like that. But it's some kind of a special two-bay charger. It's going to be like a limited run.
Oh. Products, new arrival, driving, tactical, sport, headlamp,
Just like a
charger
Swift,
series, batteries, accessories.
Let's see if I can find it real quick here.
Support, about, company news maybe. Check that. Seventh anniversary celebration. Let's have a look at that.
I think it's called the 7th anniversary
Yeah, it's a sale.
limited edition.
you got a link, guys? You want to throw it into the show chat?
I'm just finding the. Yeah, I'm into Skype or into side chat on the.
No, right into the show.
Yes, I'm still here. I'm still here.
Into the show. All I can see is that.
Hold on a second here, and I'll see if I can pull it up.
Kathmandu, that was the X-Star WP2 that I was holding up. The benefit is only to the user, I suspect. They're going to charge just as well.
Well, okay.
PMA.
We have one discrepancy in there. The
Yeah?
X-Star VP1 has restart function for batteries.
Oh,
So
right.
if
Yes.
you take IMR below 2.5 volts, it dies, and you probably won't be able to bring it back to charge on a normal charger, other than a Pila charger. Now the VP1 from X-Star does that restart as well.
Oh, here, I'll give you a link to the one I have.
WP2S is what I'm talking about here. It's called the 7th anniversary edition. Let's see if I can find it.
It's a special edition WP2.
Oh, is there a special edition one, huh? Well, why can't I find the...
Click the link that Rick is King put in.
Okay.
So like I sitting on my desk right now, I have an SP1 or SP2, whatever it is. VP1 and WP6. SP2, VP1, and WP6.
Okay, the WP2 charger that I have, here's the link coming up. Just a sec here.
Okay, there it is right there. That's the one I found. It's the WP2S.
Yep, that's the one I have. That's the one I have that'll that has the output on it, the USB output.
Okay, you must have it already then. That's the anniversary edition.
Well, from what it's looking like, the anniversary edition has a few extras on it.
Yes, it does.
Because it's got the repair function. And up until this point, only the VP1 from Xstar had that restart function. So it looks like they've done a serious upgrade on their WP2.
Yeah, this is the WP2S 7th anniversary. It's got a flip open thing on it. Mine does not, and the link that I posted did not.
And it's full slider, no adapters.
Yeah, right.
Looks like a nice charger.
Repair the over-discharged battery, 0-volt activation, USB output. So it does still have, it has the USB output on it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's nice to have a little door on the front, so hold your shit in there, I guess. I don't know. Or keeps the dust out.
But from what I understand, it's supposed to be a limited run, so...
Good night, Cat.
Nice. Night, Catmandu.
I have a mod holder. Well, actually, I have a couple of them. But usually the mods just get lined up on a shelf.
Thanks for coming, Catman.
Like, I don't know if they mean for the cover to be like a flash protector for if something goes wrong in the charger, or if it's just an aesthetics thing that they think it looks better that way. I don't get it. I don't have that on any of my chargers.
No. The Pila had a door on it too, didn't it?
Yeah, but I've never had a Pila.
Me neither.
The one that I have that's across the other side of my room is the digital one.
Yeah, the
that
drill
was actually that was gifted to me, so I got kind of lucky on that one.
I think the drilled acrylic blocks would be really nice for mod holders. I'd go more square, or at least a 2-to-1 ratio rectangular, just so they don't get tippy.
Well, God, I've been using an acrylic makeup holder for a mod holder. I'll just grab it and lift it up here. It's got space in it for basically whatever you want. I'll just lift it up and put a couple of mods in it and show you how it works. I can quit tipping them over. Just the one that won't. Most people aren't going to have the torch that I have in here, but it actually fits in here too. So it doesn't matter what I've got in here, they fit and they stay.
My torch doesn't fit anywhere.
Well, mine actually fit in this, Corey. so I can get everything to stand back up again and quit shaking it and wiggling it. It's clear acrylic makeup holder that I bought at Walmart, and it holds everything in it.
Cool.
Batteries, atomizers, and full-size mods, including the torch in the back. It's wide enough in the back that it'll hold it with the little ring sitting in there that it sits on, and it just stays there.
You know, I should have known when you said torch you meant my old torch, but I took you as you meant
Well, oh, by the way,
fire torch.
I can fit. I had that in here too. Where is it now? I've got it around here somewhere, but it fits in here too. The damn thing. I'll get it in a minute and show you. I do have it here somewhere. Where did my rebuild box go to? See what happens when you're not prepared?
Right.
I had it here last night.
Oh, vape gear gains legs all the time.
Doesn't it?
And the amazing
It just
thing
runs
is,
away.
when you finally find it, it's come back to exactly where you remember leaving it.
Uh-huh.
You know, when I find my Pravari in the fridge, you know, when I pick it up out of there, I remember clearly putting it there. Just in the entire time I'm searching, I do not remember. And the sad
in the
thing
fridge,
is,
huh?
I'm usually not looking for the Pravari. I'm usually looking for the remote control.
There it is. Found it.
And the Pravari will be right beside the remote control.
There, now
In the
my
fridge.
torch is in there too.
It's funny how you guys are talking about you have a system set up about where you guys keep your stuff. I have a nightstand next to me, 3 drawers, just cram-packed full of stuff, you know,
Right.
juices, tanks, clarimizers, I mean, you name it, there's all kinds of stuff in these drawers. And the stuff that I still have yet to review, I've got like 2 duffel bags that are stuffed full of just stuff from all kinds of different companies, you know, that I still have yet to do, you know. And so it keeps me occupied, you know.
And Rick, what I do with my K-Fun is I run a single 2.5 mil Echo Wool, and it is like S-shaped inside there with single down legs, and I am just running a 1 ohm 28 gauge coil on it. And I would love to say that that's the absolute best build I've found. It's the first build I did on it. It's still working very well. It wicks extremely well. And I just haven't played with it since. And it's going on about 6 weeks old on that build now.
Wow.
I didn't know about literally, I bought it. I traded for it. It arrived. I tore it apart. I'd never watched a video on it. Never watched anyone do a build on it. I opened it up. Okay, well, that's how it looks. Yep, this is what I'm going to do. I built the coil, put it in, tightened it up, screwed the tube over top, and then the top, the chimney, reassembled the tank, filled it with juice, and vaped the hell out of it. You know what? We definitely can do a build on the K-Fun next Saturday, because we are going to have a couple of pretty serious K-Fun, well, at least one very serious K-Fun fanatic with us. I believe he currently has 6 of them.
Wow.
Kriegs might have went a little crazy on the K-Funs.
Kriegs. Well, you never know. You got to be prepared, right?
And see, I got another 3.1 on the way. Like, I have a 3.1 here. I run it on this two-tone Kodiak. I've got another 3.1 on the way. And both my 3.1s are going to end up on DNA 20 mods. And then I've got a Russian 91 on the way. And I've got a K-Fun Lite that I've signed up for. So there's a fair amount of K-Fun style love going on.
That's about all I can share. I don't have a website or YouTube or Facebook that I really do much on. Facebook, I'm this.
You know, I like the K-Funs, but you know, the K-Fun will never replace my Genesis. It's good, but it's not Genesis. You know, my favorite part about the K-Fun is just how easy it is. Like, there's really no learning curve. There's look at a few pictures of how somebody set a coil up, make your coil look the same, and just put it together, fill it, and vape it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with a Genesis, you're going to have to learn the oxidization and hot spotting and, you know, proper wick formations to get them to flow and feed properly.
I got a damn fly in here again, Corey. I can't wait. Can't wait till summer's over. When it's summertime in a farm area, yeah, we get flies and drive you nuts.
Been dealing with 3 flies all day. They keep whizzing by.
Nick it to death. There we go, Pixie.
I think they're attracted to the smell of the juice.
Yeah.
I would not say the K-Fun is entry level. The K-Fun, just by price point, it is an advanced device. But it is a really easy build.
Yeah, the K-Fun is definitely not an intro. No.
But like ease of build, it's got to be one of the best vapes out there for how easy it is.
I'd agree with you there, yeah, but not for the price point, no.
Because it gives me a vape as good as my Penelope, and like I really like my Penelopes, but it's 100 times easier to build than the Penelope.
Hi, Zippy.
Well, Darth,
see, that's why. Oh, go ahead, Corey.
Darth, I'll tear apart my my K-Fun and I'll build a K-Fun next week on Saturday. And we'll talk Kriegs into tearing one of his apart and joining us. Joining me in the build. And we'll do side by side, we'll do 2 different styles. And you'll see, like, they are really quite simple to put together.
when I got the Euphoria, that's when the Euphoria first came out. And I thought that the Euphoria was going to be easy enough to build. Boy, I was so wrong after I started looking at it.
Yeah, Euphoria, that's a Penelope clone. And
Yep.
Imeo does really nice work, but it's overly complicated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, see, I wanted to get a Penelope, but the problem was is that you can't get Penelopes brand new anymore, and to get a Penelope used, people want an arm and a leg.
Well, I've only got one left, so I will never part with it. But this is a Penelope.
Oh, I know what Penelopes are.
But
You know,
somebody
great.
asked what a Penelope was.
In chat. Yeah.
Oh, right.
But a Penelope has juice flow. You turn the drip tip, and you can adjust how much juice flows through to your wick. But it's a... I'll show it again. But it's resistance, no resistance build. So it's not as simple as the K-Fun, which is just a resistance build. It takes far more doing to get it built.
And it's made by the maker of the GG mechanical mod. His name is Imeo.
Yep. Brilliant. Guy is brilliant.
Well, the thing is that the Penelope is no longer in production.
No.
So if you're going to get one, you're going to have to get it off a forum or off of classifieds on Facebook. And most people that have them now aren't willing to part with them.
And the ones that you find in classifieds, they want an arm and a leg for them.
But the Euphoria is a pretty good clone, is it not? Like the quality of what you got there is pretty good.
It's exactly the same, except for I think the spot right above the cup. That's the only difference.
It's knurled instead of smooth.
Right. But the parts are all interchangeable.
Yeah. And yes, the shows are all uploaded onto YouTube. So within the next 48 hours, this show will be live on the VapeStrong YouTube account. You know, Penelope, it's something that came and went. You know, same as Odysseus and Ithaca. You know, in all honesty, the K-Fun has kind of eclipsed them, and just the ease of build and the availability. You know, that the GG style, I think, is a thing of the past.
Well, it's funny to me how the great ones, you know, they come and they go, and then after they've been gone for a while, these people that, you know, are so fanatical about them, they'll clone them, and the clones actually get popular. You know, like, for example, like the Euphoria, it didn't take so well at first, but now there's a couple of vendors here in the United States that are actually selling them.
There's a full-size did.
I know.
There's a full-size did, and there's a short did with a collar to make it look like it's hybrid when it's on a Poldiac. As well as I've got a pile of clones. But I really do like the full-size dids quite a bit.
Yeah, there's way too many mini dids. I don't really care for the mini dids.
Well, I'll set up a short did right now. So there's a short did with the extra collar on my Poldiak. And as you can see, it's absolutely flush, seamless. It ends up looking like it's a hybrid. And I didn't do it. I
Yep.
bought this one from Stripper Swap as a package, a Poldiak, the tank, and the collar. Now, the Poldiak that came with this now belongs to Shasta Zippy, and I've got two other Poldiaks now. But
Wow.
there is, it looks very good. It's a really nice finished unit, and the did is a solid performer. And as far as Genesis go, I would say the absolute best flavor I've ever had out of a Genesis would be a toss-up in between a Z-Addy Pro and a true did. Not a clone, but a true did.
Okay. Is there much difference in the deck of the full did and the clone dids?
Yeah, with the real did, the ground screw is actually tall, so it forces a swirl or a vortex inside the cap when you draw through it, and it does give a far more flavorful vape.
So then why in the world didn't they clone it the same way?
They might not have understood exactly what it did.
Okay.
I never knew, when I got my first one, I never knew why it was the way it was, why it was so much different than the other ones that were out there. But after, I don't know, 9 months or a year of experimenting with all these different Genesis, I now understand why that one has more flavor than the others. It doesn't have the vapor production, say, an RSST has, but it has better flavor.
Oh, right now that's an SID with an RSST with a stainless steel wire rope coil or wick with a little bit of stainless steel mesh around the top.
Yeah, Shasta, I want to get 3 more Poldiaks. I want to get color matches to the 2 I have, but set up as bottom buttons. And then I want one set up in 18350.
Yeah, I'll probably end up getting a Poldiak closer to, I don't know, maybe January.
To me, they're the high point of what's available out there for mechanicals. And it's one of those each to their own. Some people really enjoy
definitely
the bottom
are.
button.
They definitely are as far as money-wise go.
But they don't go for stupid money on the resale because they're always available.
Right.
Um,
Okay, I see what you're saying. Right. So in other words, don't buy them new, buy them used, as long as they've been kept up. Right.
well, if you can, like I've got one new one here. I've got one that I got used. Um, and at the end of the day, uh, okay, Rick, if you want to sell one of those, quite honestly, the one you want to sell is the Nemesis. And all I need from you is your PayPal address, and I'll send funds right after the show.
And as somebody else would say, and there you go.
Hi, Navcom.
But like out of everything I have, the Poldiak hits harder than everything else. Uh, it really does work exceptionally well. And with the pricing on them, they are, price point, they're high. But if you want to sell it, you pay $235 for it. You want to sell it, you'll sell it for $235. You won't get somebody trying to sell it to you for $1,500. Whereas, you get something with like a Caravella, the price has just gone absolutely retarded. Uh, so for me, the Poldiak wins. Like, it's hard hitting, it's beautiful. I like the button. I like the way that it can be readjusted to give off any finish you want it to. And I like that if I need another one, I can just go to the website and buy one. At worst, I'll wait 2 weeks for the exact color I want to be back in stock. And one of my favorite parts about the Poldiak is I got a brass body Poldiak. It's got silver contacts. I put stainless steel pants and shirt on it. And so to the outer world, it's tough like stainless steel, but it hits like a brass mod with silver contacts. Quite honestly, Kingpin, I thought the Chi-Yu was going to give the Poldiak a run for its money, and there's a 0.3 volt difference in drop off in between them. So I don't know.
Well, as far as hard-hitting mods go, what do you think of the mortar?
The more, like, as in the V5.
Yeah.
Well, my second one is on the way to me right now. I traded
Okay.
I traded my first one off as part of my payment on a Red Dragon iHybrid, and quite honestly, I regretted it. So I chased down another one, and I bought a replacement for my V5, and it is it's in Arkansas right now, at Blake's place, waiting for the rest of the stuff that's shipping to him to reship to me to come up here.
Corey, they seem to be running on time tonight for the show that is following us.
Yep. Yeah, I get my messages.
Oh, okay. Okay. I wasn't sure if you did.
Today, everything is running smooth. Now, Kingpin, I would agree. You know, you and me would both say that 600 would end up being an average because we probably spend more like 1,000. But I would say the average vapor's budget is probably about $220 a month. And the thing is, those of us that are at 600 plus, we're no one vendor's customer ever because we're collectors. So while we still have a couple minutes here, I want to thank Zombill for coming on tonight and
Absolutely.
And talking with all of us.
Well, thanks for having me.
And sharing the Bridge the Gap message.
It's an important message.
I appreciate you for letting me come on and share my message.
No, and the spot stays open. If you want to come back another time and join us, you can just hit me up in Skype. You know, no problem.
I definitely will.
That's great.
And thanks for everybody that came out to see me and to spend time here with my friends up north.
That's wonderful.
And so with that, we are going to sign off and let Joe and Tiger come on with Done Deal. A big thank you to Zombill and to the lovely Kathy as always. Thank you one and all for being here. Vape on and vape strong.
Night, guys. Have a good one.
Bridge the gap.